everybody, we are officially in episode 2 of The Plug, where I'm your host, Quierra, where I will be bringing you the latest in sports, music, and entertainment. So much has happened this week, I cannot wait to get you guys plugged in. All I have is 15 minutes and 7 topics, so let's get plugged in. We are going to lead into my 7 topics of the week, and my first one, by no type of allegiance, I promise. We're going to talk about the Panthers and this embarrassment of a game we had against the Broncos. I want to talk about these disgusting hits against Cameron. Don't know why there was no call. Don't know why there weren't any flags. I guess all quarterbacks don't matter. So I just want to know from the NFL and the officiating crew what happened. They're supposedly looking into it. There have been investigations, and supposedly the NFL is going to lay down some type of discipline. I'm not sure to who yet, but all I know is that Cameron lost, and I feel like he lost more than that game. I'm sure you guys know the feeling of looking at your quarterback on the field just laying there, looking dazed, and having teammates come out and observe him, and yet still continue to play, which I blame on the Panthers. Why would you leave your franchise quarterback in a game where he's been continuously hitting the head and not take him out when we have a more than capable backup quarterback in Derek Anderson to finish that game? And possibly, who knows the storyline with Derek if he would have came in, maybe a touchdown, maybe an even closer field goal, but all I know is that the Panthers failed in that aspect, and they should have took Cameron out. The hits were too much. When your quarterback is on the ground at that point in time, if you're thinking in front office terms, it's best to protect your assets at that point and pull out your moneymaker, because he's no good to you. Dispersed. None. So next time, Panthers, be on the ball with that. Keep Cameron out the game if he's getting continuously hit in the head. We all know he's the most hit QB in the league. Our offensive line is not the best, even though Rimmers did more than a beautiful job against Von Miller. A lot better than he did back in February. You have all my support in that, Rimmers. But next time, Panthers, or whomever, the officiating crew, NFL, front office, Jesus, please pull Cameron out next time. 9 hits to the head, laying on the ground, should not happen to any quarterback at any time. The next topic, topic number 2, is one of my favorites to talk about, and that's Brandon Marshall. He's kind of taken most of the hits concerning the kneeling process with the silent protest against the national anthem that current NFL stars have been doing. Brandon has lost not 1, but 2 endorsements. 2 endorsements for standing up to the injustice of African Americans. It's crazy. CenturyLink pulled their endorsement, as well as, I believe, a card, some type of card dealership he had. But either way, it doesn't matter. He lost 2 of them for trying to do the right thing. I'm not sure what happened between praising the right person for doing the right thing and then finding them at fault for it and taking away something that can help them. What they could have done possibly is given, money to whatever charity he needed, or, he felt needed to be funded, which would have been a better look for the company, because, that would have rallied everybody and gung-ho them for CenturyLink and the other endorsement for doing the right thing, and not only standing behind the face of their company, but also getting into their communities and possibly starting more conversation and starting more change and heading America into the right direction of being this great nation that we want to proclaim ourselves to be. But not all is lost. Brandon does have a new endorsement from Rush Card. Russell Simmons talked about it late last night on Twitter, probably about maybe around midnight. I guess he caught wind about Brandon losing his endorsements. So he said that as soon as he can, he's going to cut Brandon a deal. He's going to get in contact with his people and try and get him an endorsement and make up, not only hopefully for the money lost, but probably, I'm hoping, start some type of partnership with the community and go forth more than just leaning or kneeling and just giving him the money he lost in an endorsement. I hope that is a better partnership, for a better conversation. So kudos to you, Russell Simmons and Brandon Marshall. We are 100% behind you. Don't think we're not out here working on your behalf. I hope that other Black-owned businesses step up and do the right thing as well and protect us the way that we can, because sometimes it takes us to look out for everybody to see how great we can be. So kudos to you two. Hopefully it's a great partnership, and yeah. Topic number 3 is a little bit late. I should have done this last week in episode 1, but it completely blew my mind. We're going to talk very little NBA. If you know me personally, you know that football is my thing, but I need to get on the NBA about this specific story. Drew Holiday of the Pelicans has done something that, naturally it shouldn't be applauded, because as a husband, these are things that you're supposed to do. But, to completely say, I'm going to hold off on basketball until I take care of my wife, his beautiful, beautiful wife, she has a brain tumor and she's also pregnant. And he's going to take care of her and make sure that, all of her medical needs are met and make sure that the baby is safe as well. He's going to hold off on basketball and take care of home, which I applaud, because, not to group men, because we don't do that here. We don't group men in no big category. But, a lot of people, even some women, may not make that type of sacrifice. And that's something huge. And it's possibly the sweetest thing I think I've ever heard, to, put your wife first, despite everything else going on. Home needs taken care of. And Drew Holiday, amazing. You're super sweet, and your wife is incredibly lucky. When you're the number 2 ranked team in the nation, as a player, how do you pre-celebrate a touchdown and, almost cost your school the game against a mid-level college? And no shade to Troy. By all means, you were great because you gave Clemson a run for their money. But come on, let's be serious. We're representing the ACC, and you're number 2 in the nation. And yet, Ray McLeod pre-celebrated his touchdown and dropped the ball before he crossed the line, which resulted in a touchback. Yeah, 75 yards down the drain for absolutely nothing. I don't know how McLeod went on campus the next day. I'm sure he got clowned, but luckily Clemson did pull it out and beat Troy. This week they're heading into a rivalry game with South Carolina State, a historically Black college, which I'm hoping they win. They probably won't, but I hope they win. And give Clemson a little run for their money. They had a little bit of struggle against Troy, so maybe this week they might continue that trend. I don't know. Maybe they get on their plunder and they take it all and head back to the championship like everyone is expecting. But however, the Cloud, next time, let's just hold the ball all the way through. Just run past the goalpost. Just keep running. Keep running until they call you back. All right, topic number 5, and keeping the trend with college football. Let's talk this random Hail Mary Central Michigan had against Oklahoma State. The most random of wins probably the past weekend. The Hail Mary was thrown, the guy catches it, and then he lateral passes it to the other guy, and they got a touchdown, and they win the game. They had a less than 1% chance to win against Oklahoma State. And as I say to every game, and I hate when they end the game entirely too early, 30 seconds is enough time. Heck, as you can see, 1 second is enough time to win a game. Aaron Rodgers proved that in Motown. You can win a game in 1 second. Hail Marys are possible. Finish the game until the last second. It's proven by Central Michigan. Anything can happen, even if you have less than 1% chance. All right, guys, topic number 6 deals with back to college basketball. The NCAA has decided that it's going to pull tournament games out of Greensboro, costing Greensboro an estimated revenue of $17 million. as a college basketball fan who knows Carolina's going to win it all again, I am hurt. I can't go up the street 40 minutes and see my team win all over again. But good news is November 8th is coming up. We can get Pat McCrory out of here and hopefully repeal HB2 and everything he has done to make North Carolina seem like the most undesirable state in all 50 states. We've lost so much from concerts to music to entertainment to now sports. And we are ball is life in North Carolina. That's like ripping our heart out, taking, basketball out of a basketball state. What else are we going to do? I don't know, but I do know the election's coming up soon in North Carolina. Whoever you're watching, everybody in North Carolina, please go to the polls. Elect anybody but Pat McCrory. I'm hoping that I can write Jesus in, because at this point, that's what we need. So please, go vote. We need to bring, happiness back to North Carolina and get us out of 1902. All right, guys, last but definitely not least, we're going to talk about Colin Kaepernick and the growing support he has seen across the NFL for standing up to racial injustice in America. And I'm super happy about it. I'm more than happy. I'm elated that he has growing support. We're now 18 strong in the NFL. And I'm lucky enough to have some of his fraternity brothers, not him personally, but, people of his fraternity talk about Colin Kaepernick and what he's doing, as well as the biggest topic of it all, being Black in America. In this next segment, I wanted to continue the conversation with Colin Kaepernick and his protests for racial injustice in America. And I decided to kind of plug in his fraternity. So I brought in 3 men of Kappa Alpha Psi, which Colin and Brandon have both pledged. And, to get their insight on what it's like to have a fellow fraternity brother speak on racial injustice, their thoughts on it, and also to kind of plug you guys into what Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity is and what they do for their community. So I have the gentlemen introduce themselves.
Quinn Murphy.
Will Smith.
Frederick Raven.
All right, guys, so I don't know who wants to speak first, but who wants to tell me exactly what Kappa Alpha Psi is?
Start with Idus Murphy.
Kappa Alpha Psi, our fraternity was founded January 5th, 1911 on the campus of Blooming, Indiana. And we are founded on Christian-based principles, and we stand for brotherhood, and we are really deep in the community involvement, leadership, and helping youth. So in a nutshell, we are an organization of men that strive forth for achievement and never fail the human endeavor.
Colin has, decided to not only donate $1 million, but he's also decided to give the proceeds of his jersey sales as well to the community. So to hit off the back of that, what are some things that you guys do in the community?
Well, we do the Brother to Brother program, which is mentoring the kids. We have a breakfast on every Tuesday at an elementary school local here in Durham. We do the Habitat for Community, clothing drives, toy drives, back to school drives for the kids with the toys. We also do serve food to the homeless, also carry food to the homeless, do a lot of that for the shelters, just various things in the community here and there.
So basically you guys stay super busy. What is it like for you guys to see Colin Kaepernick as, not so much as a representation of, the fraternity, but it has to be prideful to see, your fraternity leading in something as important as what's been going on?
I'd say that it definitely is. I think at the end of the day, whether it's one of our fraternities, whether it's a sorority, pretty much it's an organization that was shaped during the trials and tribulations before the civil rights. So everything has come fast forward, and you realize that you have the same social injustices that are out there. And I think that all he's trying to do is start the conversation and shed some light on some of the inequities that still exist.
How do you guys feel about everything that's been going on?
Well, I think it's just like my frat brother Raven said. I think it's a very good look. I think Colin, not that we're speaking on behalf of Colin, but it makes us proud to know that young athletes are taking a stand for injustice. And you're right. There's a lot of media hype going on around the whole idea of what he's doing. But it's like so many people have said, if you're mad about him not standing more than you are mad about the injustice that's going on in America, then you really got to take a step back and look at the real issue. That's the
well, I'm behind him 100%. At first, I was like, "What is he doing?" And I thought about it, and I read the national anthem, and actually read the stanza, and it actually is racist. So it's written by a guy who owned slaves.
Right.
So I was like, it's really not meant for us. So
Right.
Learning this now, coming out now, it's just shocking. Being in denial for all these years. About what we were standing up for him to stand up and say, hey, I'm not going to take this anymore until he sees justice.
I think the reason that so many people are talking about this is because it's an uncomfortable subject. I think that as Americans, a lot of us are able to live in places where you may not even have anybody of color be your next door neighbor. So you're not able to hide behind the movies, you're not able to hide now behind sports. It's coming to a point where in America you're actually having to deal with a lot of these issues head on. And I think that that's what he's doing. He's making you have that conversation in your household with your kids, your co-workers, your relatives, and actually talk about some of the things that people would like to look over. And I think that's what he's doing. So I'm proud of it.
Now, I don't know about you two, but Frederick, I know you have 2 boys.
Right.
Now, what conversation do you have with your sons about being... I'm sure that they're probably too young to even have the conversation, but, at some point, you're going to have to let them know that,
Right.
you have a...
Funny enough, it was probably around 2 or 3 months ago, and my son, I can't remember if he was reading a book or he was looking at it on TV. He's 4, he's my oldest son. And he went up to his mommy and was like, "Look, mommy, this kid looks like me." And it was, it was a brown kid with curly hair, and it's somebody that even at 4 years old, he was actually able to identify with. So I think that it starts at a younger age than most people actually realize.
All right, gentlemen, you have anything?
And he's absolutely right. I think, even in 2016, America wants to put us as African American in a box.
Right.
There's only so much that you can do inside this parameter, even regardless of where you're in corporate America, where you play professional sports. There's a stigma of, yes, you are a professional, but you are still a black man. And see, America still has this way of saying, okay, we have allowed you to be here, but know your position.
Right.
And see, I think that's the conversation now, especially with the NFL. You see a lot of tweets about, okay, well, he's making all this money, he's making all these dollars, but at the end of the day, it's our league. You know what I'm saying? So they say, this is our league you're playing in. We allowed you to be here. So play your role in your position. But if you think back in history tells us that America didn't even want us to be Americans. You remember that from back when you studied history? They didn't want African Americans to look. We didn't even have voting rights, and so it's like, do we stand? Do we sit? What do you want us to do? At some point, it's a catch-22, and it's just like a lot of people have said, racism has always been around. It's just being filled. More people are just starting to have the conversation in the elevators now and at your work desk. And even though if you're willing to take a stand like that, you got to realize what the consequence may be. And what do you value most? Your integrity, your heritage, or do you value a paycheck? And so.
Well, gentlemen, you did succeeded past all my expectations, and I am so happy that you all agreed to come on so late at night. I really appreciate it. This conversation needs to be had. It needs to keep going. I'm sure there's going to be so many clashes and, naysayers, but as long as the conversation is going, someone's mind is going to get changed, and at the end, that's the goal. So thank you guys once again.
No problem.
I might bring you guys back. But thank you for plugging in.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm kind of disappointed to say this. My creative director is smiling so big right now because he knows that this is taking a lot out of me to say this. But my charged up player of the freaking week is Arian doggone Foster. Who would have freaking thunk it? You can now draft him. If you haven't, I know if you follow me on social media, I have been screaming, do not draft that man. But as of today, you are free to draft Arian Foster of the Miami Dolphins. This man has said some profound words of Colin Kaepernick and why he kneeled during the game, and I am shocked and totally shocked. But I'm happy. I'm so happy. You know, he only ran for 38 yards, but that's okay. He's coming off an injury. 38 yards is okay. We're in Miami. It's the Dolphins. It's probably the best they're going to get all season. But, you know, Arian, I'm happy. I'm so happy for what you said because you're more than just football. And you took your stand as a black man first. And I'm so proud of you. So thank you, Arian Foster. You are my charged up player of the week.
Well, this has been going on for decades. This is not our fight.
Okay, right,
This is the fight has been inherited from our fathers and our mothers and our grandfathers. It's not something that we started. We didn't start anything. We kept the conversation going. Systemic racism in this country has been a problem since we were brought here as slaves, and that's how deep it gets. And I think that's the bigger issue is police brutality is a part of it, but it's also the prison systems, the school systems, education, everything that entails what is systemic racism in this country and how it affects people moving forward. It affects people's judgments, decisions. It affects people's vantage points. And that's why I think the conversation is so important. It's more important to create a healthy dialogue. It's easy for you to just sit here and say, shut up, you stupid, rather than saying, why do you feel like that? And if you do feel like that, like tell me more about it. You know, if it's just so easy to hate. If you really proclaim to be a true American, freedom runs in our bloodline, right? It's supposed to. And so if somebody's telling you they don't feel like they're free, then why won't you listen to them?
And for the player who needs their plug pulled, I'm going to do something totally drastic and dramatic because that is the Quierra luck. I'm going to pull the plug on the entire Washington team. Not just the team. I'm pulling the front office. I'm pulling the owner. I'm pulling the fans. Everybody. You all paid $75 million for the best quarterback in the league. The league, supposedly. With a, 95% rating on Madden? $75 million to pick him on a wide receiver that I can't even remember. Instead of pitting him on Antonio. I just want to know, Ruben, what were you thinking when that happened? Like, at no point during the 4 hours of that game did you just think, the simplest tactic of maybe slowing down the twerk of Antonio Brown would be to pick, the $75 million man on him. You didn't even give him a try. You didn't even let him attempt to, stop Antonio. You picked, I believe he was a rookie on Antonio Brown, a rookie on the best wide receiver in the league. A rookie. I don't know what Washington was thinking. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. But please, you guys are going into playing Dallas, which we'll talk about later. Fix it. You probably won't win, but fix it. At least do a little bit better. Please, at least give us the game that we want and put Norman on Brian. Don't put a rookie on Brian Gruden. All of y'all, plug pull. All right, guys, I'm officially the queen of the NFL. I am going into week 2, 3-1. Panthers should have won against the Broncos. But no, it's not your fault. I'm blaming the Panthers. You know what? We're in week 2. Whatever. Week 1 happened. Week 2. These are the 4 games you need to be tuned into. Number 1, of course, Dallas and Washington. Gruden, this is specifically for you. Please pay the $75 million man against the opponent we all want to see. This is why I watch the NFL, to see two great players go head to head. I want to see Des Bryant, who was upset about his Madden efficiency, against doggone Josh Norman, who is more than ecstatic about his. I want to see these two go head to head, and I want to see a really good game. I'm going with Dak. I think that he got a good rhythm in his first game against the Giants. The Giants won by the skin of their teeth. I'm thinking Dak catches his rhythm a little bit more and wins this game. Kirk is going to Kirk. I don't think Kirk is going to do anything. And, to kind of tackle off of that a little bit, RG3 should have stayed in Washington. He's probably into his career already. He's out 8 weeks. Is he even a quarterback anymore? We don't know. But all in all, Dallas is going to win against Washington. I'm calling maybe a 7-point spread. I don't think it's going to be by much. We still have a rookie quarterback in Dallas, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of you. The next game, 49ers and Panthers. I promise you guys, I'm sure you guys can tell a pattern here. I'm a Panthers fan, but I guarantee you the way the 49ers played last week against the Rams, I don't know if they're feeding off the powers of Colin Kaepernick from the bench, but what have you, they're playing exceedingly well in week 1. I don't know how they're going to play against week 2, because you are going against that Panthers defense. You're going against Luke, you're going against Thomas, you're going against Short, you're going against Star Lutulele, you're going against a bunch of big names, and I think the Panthers can beat the 49ers. They're playing at home in Charlotte. I'm going with Panthers for the win. I'm going with maybe a 12 to 14 point spread. The next game you need to be watching is, of course, the Packers and the Vikings. A good old Aaron Rodgers game. I'm going with Aaron Rodgers. As you guys know, Jordy Nelson is back. Aaron Rodgers is going to run all over the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to continue their run game. Of course, Adrian Peterson is going to have his yardage, but I think the Packers take this win on home. I'm going with a 14 spread. Again, I think Aaron is going to just dominate as usual. And lastly, kind of like my dark horse game, the Jets and the Bills. Two teams to me that don't really have an identity yet in the NFL. And I think they're going to find it these coming few years. I like the directions that they're heading, but they're both 0-1. They both 0-1. And I believe it was the Bills who lost by only 1 point. I'm going with the Bills on this. I'm going with Sammy Watkins. I believe in this kid. Tyrod Taylor, the whole nine. I'm thinking these guys are going to get it done against the Jets. I'm calling it like it is. I don't see a huge spread in this. I'm going like 3 points. Yeah, I'm going 3 points on this game. The Jets and the Bills, a good old New York game. You cannot beat it. All right, guys, that is it for episode 2. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, watch next Thursday at 11 a.m. I am Quierra Luck. You can continue this conversation on all my social media platforms. You can follow me at Quierra_Luck. Again, next Thursday at 11 a.m. You better be there. Are you plugged in?